which one get you get this, didn't pay, one do the nature. How much can the Kazu put the share? Marichin also working Mara. Kazu put the reader. Not to permit the Kamu to Papa Yomare, Karichena Chizu. Tell a Karichena Kumba, take Gala Karichena Chizu. Give me, so to let do. Quality, give up for me. Neither the rich leader. Not only Takdera, Takdichis the Vidua.
Have a question to the media, question to the international community, and question to those who perceive this video in a very negative way. Who is behind this? Who is benefiting from all of this? Who is the first person who put this video, who uploaded this video, edited version on Twitter? It was a guy named Yin San, probably a fake account with a history of a lot of pro-China posts. So again, the question to media is, why isn't there any coverage about a possible involvement? But who's benefiting this? Who is involved in this? What has China done after all of this? China has, for the first time in many decades, uncensored the word Dalai Lama in Tibet. Why isn't there international news about this? Chinese diplomats, Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka has openly accused His Holiness of sexual abuse. Why isn't there international news about this? Chinese state media has linked this particular story with other stories in the past and trying to build a pattern on this. Now we know clearly who is behind all of this, who is benefiting all of this. Because China has spent billions of dollars in the past 6 decades, since they illegally invaded our country, billions of dollars to destroy a single biggest threat to them, who is His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And they couldn't succeed. They couldn't succeed. And now they're taking the help of social media, where people are so exposed to so much negativity, so much controversy, so much of sensational news that international community, the people find it very difficult to believe that there exists a person who could be as pure, as compassionate, as transparent as His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
As many of you know, I don't usually comment on the endless stream of terrible events making headlines in the news, and I have many reasons for this. But this week, I'm making an exception. And this exception that I'm making is regarding the news scandal surrounding His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This last week, footage of him in a live global telecast from Dharamsala, where he was addressing a group of graduate students, which, by the way, happened more than a month ago, about the importance of empathy, inclusion, and trust, was manipulated and maliciously spliced so that what happened was taken out of both situational and cultural context, make it look like what he initiated was what people are now calling a, quote, blatantly sexual act with a child. Now people all around the world are turning against His Holiness the Dalai Lama, comparing what he did to real incidents of child sex abuse that have happened in this world. Aside from the fact that in Tibet the tongue is not regarded as a sexual object the way it is in other places in the world, and aside from the fact that people in Tibet often stick out their tongue as a sign of respect to one another, I have to explain something about Tibetan culture. In Tibetan culture, the type of teasing and bartering for affection that we witness between the child and His Holiness the Dalai Lama is commonplace between elders and children in Tibet. If a child asks for something from an elder, which the child in the footage, by the way, actually did, it is common for the elder to tease them by bartering for affection, asking for a kiss, example. And a common cultural tease is to say, I gave you everything. The only thing left for me to give for you is for you to eat my tongue. This is an expression and a tease that makes no sense outside the context of Tibetan culture. A phrase that does not translate well, even in its exact translation. Problem is, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is not fluent in English, and he did not translate the expression exactly. He said the word, suck my tongue, instead. And just like that, the Tibetan cultural expression was, quote, lost in translation. If you take the time to go watch the entire clip, not the viral edited clip, you will see not only the playful, affectionate, teasing, compassionate praying and teaching nature of the entire exchange, which was initiated by the child, you will see that the child's mother is in fact on stage the entire time, sitting just one person away from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. What you will see between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the child is quite frankly exactly how Tibetan elders show affection with a child. It's an exchange that defines Tibetan culture, especially in the years past. There is nothing sexual. I repeat, nothing sexual or abusive going on between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the child who is depicted in the footage. I'm not only saying this as a very traveled spiritual leader, I am also saying this as a survivor of childhood sex abuse myself. What this incident does is it puts a massive spotlight on some of the biggest barriers to harmony that we face in this world. Serious cultural differences, serious language barriers, and also the media being deliberately manipulated and weaponized. Regardless of what culture we come from, we project our own culture, our beliefs, our practices, our traditions, our rules, our taboos onto the world, as if it is a given that ours are everyone's and that ours are the true ones and the right ones. And everyone draws conclusions and makes assumptions according to their own cultural bias. Here's an example. Kissing on the lips has been sexualized only in certain cultures, especially in the Western world, whose cultural roots, do not forget, are embedded in Christianity. If you travel to foreign countries, what you will immediately see is that social norms in one culture seem not only weird, but offensive and downright wrong to people from other cultures, and this serves people looking to use the media to weaponize the world against someone they want to take down. I'm well aware that by sticking my neck out on this one, I've made myself a target for cancellation yet again, but no part of my conscience can keep focused on just teaching what I teach and let this particular one go by me. What is being done to His Holiness the Dalai Lama is not okay, but more than that, I have a special message for the people of Tibet. To the people of Tibet, it may seem like the world has turned against you right now, not only because they have wrongly accused the man who is essentially a manifestation of the Tibetan nation, but also because they are failing to understand and are, quite frankly, demonizing your cultural practices. As if you needed any more of that in your lives. And for this, I am truly sorry. I need you to know that not all of us in the Western world are so unconscious as to let our projections, our own biases, our own assumptions, run away with the cart, so to speak. And I want you to know that I will not stand for this one. You do not stand alone in this one. I see exactly what is happening here, and the rest of the world needs to see it too. Have a good week.